just the fact that 90% is staked, and if you don't know the story, the OA laddered out. OA has a huge supply of HEX. They laddered out the HEX stakes over time, over I think was 10 years or something like that. And this used to be like 9 or 10% that was staked, and then a whole bunch of it got staked. And now there's a ton. Now, what does that do for inflation? Goes down a lot. What does it do for yield? In turn, goes down a lot. If you're staking, now you got to go bigger and longer and all that stuff to get even, I think at what is the max, like 5% or something. You may get 4 or 5% at most right now as far as HEX stakes go. Used to be, you could get like maybe 20, 30, 40. I mean, even bigger percentages if you were in like super early before big payday and all those pieces. There's still ones that are paying a lot over time. I mean, we could even go to, let's just go to HexCat. I could tell you some of the amazing, this is like Godwell. Oops, that didn't work for some reason. Try this again. And I'll go to hexscout.com, portfolio, click on the Godwell. And you can see the type of yield and stuff. So giant well in the ecosystem. Shout out to Godwell. Locked up on this particular one, 14 years on average. Amazing. $6,000 per day I'm making. This one's a 209% APY. So is that a result of getting in super early, staking super long term, over time? These are all, some of these are 555 stakes. You can see as well. Some of these are coming up. This one's like 10 years long, all that. And you see the huge numbers of getting in early and longer and better and all that. So getting in today, if we go to hexcalc.net, another awesome site. And if you were to stake, this is PHEX, you can switch to EHEX or PX if you like, with the little switcher up top here. I always like to do 1 million. And for example, we go 365 days. And we could see that you get about 1.5% APY. However, add a 0 to this, go out about 10 years, and add about almost 5%. And then I imagine 5555 should be around the same. Yeah, maybe a little bit more is calculating as well. So that's the most. So this used to be, I think I have to look up like an old video or something too, or but probably in the 20s, 30%, somewhere through there. 38% APY is the calling card and stuff of the community. And this is pretty cool to see the different predictions and fun stuff you can do by staking and all those pieces. Now, why is it bullish? Why is all this bullish? Why would a giant entity in the ecosystem stake out, ladder out all that time? Why would they cut inflation? Why would they make yield go lower? A couple different theories. I think a couple of the leading theories. One would be to prevent or help people not do the short-term stakes that are just getting the yield and selling and all that stuff. Maybe good for the individual. Again, I'm not saying my personal opinion on that one way or another, but I'm thinking of what an entity may think of that is that would help the HEX price dump less, would be to give out less of it through staking, right? So that's one theory. The other one too is one of the key selling points of HEX is for price to go. For price to go up. I got ahead of myself on that one. One of the key selling points of HEX is be able to get yield, be able to lock it up over time, delay gratification, earn more, do this whole like healthy thing that's prevalent everywhere in finance and is just kind of like investing 101 and just how money, all this stuff. So if you take away the biggest marketing point of HEX as far as the high yield goes, after about 5 years of it happening, what is left to market HEX with? Of course, the yield is still there. When the HEX price is much higher, the yield looks more juicy, all that. So how do we market HEX today? This is a conversation I've had a lot too. Well, if the price starts going up, it gets a lot easier to market, because if the price goes up, the yield looks more juicy. HEX terms, if the HEX and USD price goes up, then all of a sudden, instead of saying, oh, I'm only going to make $5 when my HEX stake comes out in HEX terms. If the price is much higher, it may look like you're making $50 or $500 and all that stuff too. So that would, encourage people to be participate in the system, all that stuff. And for marketing it too, but for example, if the price doesn't go higher, then we're still saying, okay, if you stake it, it's a really hard sell right now. How to stake it? Why would you stake HEX? Because you're looking at the yield. It's not that much. Again, you kind of got to be a big believer in the system to participate, when prices are really low as well. And why would people participate? Because they think in the future, the price is going to go higher and they're not be able to get as many T-shares and all that technical stuff. I'm sure we'll get into it HEX week. But the point of this being bullish is, I imagine the entity doing this wants to cut inflation, wants to prevent dumping, and maybe they anticipate as well, as many of us certainly hope happens, the price goes up a lot. And it's easier to sell because even if the yield isn't the super high yield like it was before, the price goes up a lot and the yield is worth a lot more in USD terms. And the green candles are there. So you have more faith in the system and all that fun stuff. So if there is an entity out there, if there are any whales out there, any HEX whales and all that stuff who would make moves like this, there's speculation that they would think over time, hopefully this bull run, that the price will go up a lot. So to me, all of it being staked out, hey, we'll have the 38% APY, how to sell HEX that way. You make a lot of yield over time. Hey, the price went up a lot. And even if you get 5% APY or you get 2% or whatever, still worth some money. So I think that's pretty bullish. Maybe you could say the same for the Ink token as well on the farms. The inflation got cut a lot on that. Maybe it's the season for price go up for both. We certainly hope so. So that's pretty bullish to me. I'm excited for it. And that's something that's your bullish stat for day 2. And I'll try to bring some more bullish ones for the rest of the week as well. So it's about time to bring in Mr. Ben Sierra. I'll let him give his quick opinion on this before we get into Liquid HEX. Welcome to HEX week. Ben, how's it going, man?
Oh, hey, Max. Oh, it's nice to see you. Long time no see. I'm happy to be in HEX week. I'm currently on the road, enjoying the summer a bit.
Nice.
And yeah, stats are looking great. People know my stats. I already started posting about the July HEX numbers. If you go and follow me on Twitter on Ben Sierra Pro, you can see those reports that I do. And staking is coming back. I'm not sure if you
We're back, baby. We're back. I love it. Yeah, man. What do you think just on the OA staking and stuff too? Do you concur? Is that a bullish thing in your mind? Kind of what I've been talking about the last few minutes?
Yes, I think that is a bullish overall trend, and we can already see staking coming back now, even though we don't have higher prices. So with higher prices, I think that staking will have a comeback, and we enter a new period of HEX doing lower APIs, much more closer to APIs what traditional finance is kind of providing. So I think it's just a new era, and with rising prices, which hopefully come soon, we would see definitely more staking activity, and we can see it already now. So that's very nice to see.